Hi, I'm Jamie Green and welcome back to OTR Reviews. Now, we have had a little bit of a break, which is partly down to the semiconductor crisis, which you may not have heard of in the news, where there is a shortage of chips to run car computers. But I'm back now, and I've what a car to start back with but the Mazda CX-5. I have got a couple of other videos lined up ready to be released to you guys from a few months ago, and they'll be released in time. But first, let's dive straight into this, Mazda's large SUV, and why it's the perfect family car. Let's go. We're going to start today with specifications, and from the off, the SEL at just over £27,500 comes really well spec'd with adaptive cruise control, Mazda navigation with a 10.25 inch touchscreen including Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, front and rear parking sensors, and the active city stop assist with the radar behind the smooth front Mazda badge. Next in the CX-5 range is the Sport, like the one we have today, and coming in at just over £30,600, again very well spec'd, with the rear reversing camera, the 10-speaker Bose sound system, front leather seats with 8-way adjustability and heating function as well. Top of the range is the GT Sport at £33,000, and that comes with an auto-dimming rear view mirror, adaptive LED headlights. It also comes with the brown Nappa seats with ventilation system included as well. And that's a whole lot of car for £33,000. For a large family SUV, that's not a bad price. On sale currently is a special edition called the Kuro Edition, which comes in at £29,000. And the Kuro Edition features half leather, half suede seats and the power tailgate. The CX-5 comes with 3 engine options, 2 petrols and a diesel, and this is the 2 litre Skyactiv-G automatic. This is a petrol engine and also comes with a manual gearbox. You can also have the 2.2 diesel, which comes with a manual or automatic, and the higher powered diesel also comes with all-wheel drive. Now there is 2.5 litre petrol, but you can only get that on the GT Sport variant of the car, and that comes with an automatic gearbox and all-wheel drive as standard. Now the CX-5 Sport that I've got with me today has been pretty well spec'd with the sunroof and the power liftgate, and as you can see, it's got a big boot. Its boot is 506 litres with its seats up, and by pulling the levers at either side of the boot, you can push these seats flat to get 1,620 litres. Underneath the boot load floor is a little bit more storage next to the Bose subwoofer, but overall it's quite a smooth surface. The sliding stuff in is going to be quite easy, and the lip, well, it's probably about an inch. It's really nothing you're going to have to worry about, and with the power tailgate, it really makes this car user friendly. In the post-COVID world, with staycations rising, people are wanting to use caravans more than ever, and the CX-5 can have a tow bar fitted thanks to its dual exhaust system. With an exhaust pipe at each side, you can fit the tow bar dead centre, and it can also tow 2.1 tonnes behind it, making it one of the best in its class. It really can take a lot, and a luxury caravan is one of those. The all-wheel drive CX-5s get a system called G-Vectoring fitted on board, and what this does, it uses the car's suspension to shift the weight of the car as you turn into a corner. This helps maximise your cornering speed, increases your grip and maintains your stability through the corner, making for an overall more comfortable cornering experience. And in the UK, on some of the roads we've got, that's probably going to be a pretty nifty feature. Now when we talk about interior connectivity, the front is always the pinch point, but in the CX-5 we have the 12-volt socket underneath here in this little storage area big enough for a large phone, and behind the cup holders in the center console you can see we have another 12-volt socket accompanied by 2 USB ports. So making this car a very user-friendly experience is very, very important to Mazda. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard on all CX-5 models and are connectable via the USB ports. Now, you're all probably pretty sick of hearing me say this, but I'm 6 foot tall. Yes, you've heard it all before. The driving seat is fitted to my driving position, and in the back I've still got ample legroom, and I can even stretch my feet underneath the seat in front. I can recline using the lever. That gives me about 5-7 degrees of recline. I've got plenty of space back here. There's a good amount of space for at least 2 adults, and connectivity in the back's pretty good as well, with 2 USB plugs in the pulled down cup holders in the centre seat. Overall, the rear space is pretty good. It's not best in class, but the headroom's really good. I'm quite comfortable. I'd be quite comfy in the back here on a long drive. Now the doors are quite slim. They're not as wide as they possibly could be, and that would make me concerned to think, how can I get someone larger in the back of a car? Well, they open to a 90-degree angle, which is absolutely fantastic because it maximises all of this space here, and as you can see, it's an absolute ease to use. Now we're going to move on to the styling section of this video. I'm going to start with colours. The CX-5 comes in 8, starting with the Arctic White as its base colour. You can have other colours starting from £580. I have the Storm Grey with me today, which is absolutely glorious. And the price of the most expensive one, the Crystal Metallic Red, is £820. But oh my god, if you've ever seen it in person, it is probably the most beautiful red alongside Ford's Ruby Red. They really do go very well. Now we're going to start now after the colours with the front of the car. Now this car is designed on Mazda's Kono design philosophy, and what that means is soul of motion. And even when this car is at a standstill like it is now, it simply looks like it could glide through the air like a boat does through water. Now looking here, we've got the big open mouth and the smoothed off badge, which houses the radars as I spoke about earlier. But we've also got this negative space, which has become a bit famous on the Mazdas, and it just helps the airflow flow down the side of the car, maximising the efficiency that these cars can get. But it also makes the car very, very handsome. It's a very calm, very serene looking front end with not a lot going on, and I like that because it just gives it that edge on some of its competitors, like the slightly softer design Cougar. Now as we look around the back of the CX-30, again you can see it's very simplistic styling, the two exhausts giving the only sporty real feel to it, and the single line sweeping across the back. The headlights protrude ever so slightly out of the back with the main oval in the centre, a little bit like the MX-30 we tried a little while ago. The simplistic styling of this car really does give it a fantastic look, and it's simple yet effective, and that's what I love about this CX-5 and why it's one of my favourite large SUVs on the market today. Back inside the CX-5, I'm going to show you around the interior, and the one thing that I've always been quite critical on Fords about, even though they're one of my favourite brands, is the hard scratchy plastics, of which in this Mazda you haven't got any. I mean, this is a really firm and it's not scratchy at all. This steering wheel is lovely smooth leather. This is soft leather. This is soft. It's all soft with the piano gloss trim. Even the buttons for the infotainment system feel soft. It feels premium with the wings dominating the centre here. We've even got running across this dashboard here and even both doors the veneer, which on the GT Sport is wood effect and just looks really nice. And going on these arrowhead vents, it really is built stylishly, and it feels very premium. It feels like even some of its German rivals, this car just feels more premium. The feel of moving this around, it's fantastic. This again, it's nice soft plastic. It doesn't feel cheap and nasty. And then when you combine it, as I say, with the sunroof, which just makes the cabin feel more open, it feels more spacious. It really is a must-have feature. It really feels like Mazda put time and effort into making this car feel like it's supposed to be worth 50-60 grand. But when you think you can pick up the Sport like I am in today with a couple of bits on for around £31,000, you have to stand back a bit and go, that's a lot of car for not a massive amount of money. Now obviously there's going to be people who are going to be saying to me, yeah, but you can get the German equivalents for 45-50 grand, but that's still 14-15 grand more than a CX-5, and the build quality on this is just unreal. Now, what is the CX-5 like to drive? Well, I can't comment for the all-wheel drive with the G Vectrin, but what I can comment on is this 2-litre Skyactiv-G automatic engine. Now, the engine itself is quite happy to rev, and you can slot the gear stick across and use the flappy paddles to change the gear, which is quite nice when you're on the little B roads. You can kind of select where you want to be. If you want to have a bit more of a frivolous drive, you really can do, but not many people with this type of car will. So you can happily just leave it in auto and it will do its thing. The only comment I'll make on that is that it's quite dim-witted. When you're trying to overtake on a motorway and you put your foot down, it can take a couple of seconds to kind of drop down and try and accelerate away, which can be quite annoying, because by which time you've got a car alongside you and you can no longer move. So in that respect, I'd probably say you're gonna want to go with either the manual or the more powerful option with the all-wheel drive system, because you'll be off the mark a little bit quicker, and it's going to cost you slightly more. But if you're in it just for a relaxing drive, then by all means this automatic gearbox really is nice. It's just got a bit of dim-wittiness. Now, when we talk about comfort in a big SUV, it can sometimes be difficult, because sometimes they stiffen up the suspension to stop it lulling about and stop the body roll. Yes, I'm exaggerating that body roll, because really this car doesn't have that much. There is a little bit more than maybe the Kia Sportage and the Ford Kuga, but I can live with that. It doesn't feel like it's going to throw itself off the road, which is what you want to be careful with SUVs. But most modern ones won't do that unless they've got a really bad vectoring system, which this one doesn't. It really just turns in, and it is very, very precise on the steering. You know, you kind of put the input and it goes. There's none of this dead zone rubbish that I saw with the Kia Sportage. You'll see that video coming along hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But as I say, there's a little bit of dead zone there, but this is just immediate response from the steering wheel, which is really nice. But yeah, I really love the way this car is, and as I say, the 2 litre petrol revs nicely. But I'd say if you're gonna have the 2 litre petrol, as I said a minute ago, get the manual, don't get this automatic gearbox. It is a lovely gearbox, but it is a little bit dim-witted. In terms of general comfort, you know, these leather seats in the Sport are very soft. They've got the heated functionality. In the UK, do you need to spend more on the GT Sport to get the ventilated seats? Probably not. We don't really experience that higher temperatures. The Sport, sorry, will be the car of choice for you, I think. You know, it's very comfortable just to cruise round in, as I am now. It generally does everything you want it to do. Now, one thing I've had in previous videos is when I've said a car's good value for money, people have commented, but Jamie, £30,000 is still a lot of money. And yes, I agree, £30,000 is a lot of money. However, my context is that it's good value for money, and with the CX-5 you're getting better value for money than some of its competitors. You're getting some really good tech, some really good range on these engines. As I say, I'm averaging about 35, 36 the gallon from this 2 litre petrol, which is quite good for the engine and the size of the car. You're going to get more out of the diesel, around 45, 48. So again, that diesel is probably going to be a go-to if you're going to be doing a lot of mileage in it. I would say though that in context, £30,000 for a car with this much tech isn't bad at all, and the reversing camera is nice and clear with its clarity. I really haven't got many complaints about this CX-5. It is my favourite large SUV in this class. You know, the Kia Sportage is a great car, the Ford Kuga is a great car, but Mazda have just gone that next level, and the build quality, I think I've banged on about that this whole video, the build quality, that is what has made this my favourite car, just because it feels better put together, it feels more reliable and more well strung. You know, the Japanese really know how to build a car. You know, Mazda have been great at this for years. You know, they've always had that. So I said, you know, a lot in this video as well, so you can comment on that if you'd like. But yeah, anyway, let's move on to what else you need to know about the CX-5. Now, for a large car, the CX-5 doesn't host many blind spots. They've worked hard to slimline this front pillar, so you've got good vision here all the way back to the rear window. But this is where it kind of has a problem, because this is huge. They've combated this with an absolutely huge rear window, which just gives you that visibility, and combine that with a blind spot information system, you really do get the best of both worlds, and you're able to see pretty much 360 on this car. Yes, you've got the gap there, but then the blind spot information system, which comes standard from the SEL, gives you everything you could possibly need to safely drive this car. Now, Mazda have worked really hard on a large family SUV. You wouldn't want it to be unsafe. And the CX-5 has 5 Euro NCAP styles with a 95 app protection rating for adults and 80% for children. So you can rest assured that your family are going to be safe inside of this car. Combine that with the 10 Bose speaker sound system, which gives you perfect clarity sound out of them. It really is a fantastic car for money. I really love the sound system, and it is a little bit better than I'd say some of the B&O systems that you'd find maybe on the Ford Kuga and again some of its rivals. So I'd say the sound system on this is a lot better, especially when we compare this to like the Kia Sportage and the Ford Kuga. And there you have it. There you have my highlights of the Mazda CX-5. And I have to say, this is my favourite large SUV in its class. Over the Kia Sportage, over the Ford Kuga, I would have the CX-5 every single day. It looks better, it drives absolutely fantastically, but not to say it doesn't come with its drawbacks. I have to be honest that the automatic in this 2-litre petrol is a little bit dim-witted when you want to pull out and overtake on a dual carriageway or motorway. You're better blipping into manual and using the flappy paddles behind the box, which in an auto you shouldn't really have to do every time, but I've found so far I have had to. But for me it's not too much of a detracting factor. It's getting decent fuel mileage while I've been driving it this past few days. And again, it looks fantastic. Anyway, that's all I've got time for today, guys. If you like this video, please click the like button. Drop a comment to what you think of the CX-5 and if you missed the videos. And I'll see you next time. If you want to see more like this, please check out my videos list. I have got a couple more reviews coming of the Transit plug-in hybrid and the Kia Sportage. But for today, this is the Mazda CX-5. I'm Jamie Green and you've been watching OTR Reviews. Till next time, take care, drive safe. Goodbye.